Presenting the Kaido official action figure. I know, right? How did they make it so realistic? It's like I'm holding one of the four emperors of the sea in my hand at this very moment. All right, Barry, provided you don't go crazy with power, I'm going to set that down right next to you. Thanks to Artie Dami for sending me the epic dragon duck. Didn't even know they made dragon ducks, but they do now. Actually, I was in a gas station earlier today, and next to the checkout, they had like little rubber duckies, but they were also like lions and tigers like combined with the ducks. So maybe that's the next big trend. Maybe that's going to be the next big fidget spinner. It's going to be ducks, but different animals do the fusion dance with the duck. I don't know. Okay. So, last chapter. I know, right? Now look, we all know Kaido is a biggity badass. Like, we already know that, okay? But I will admit, also, most of the time we see Kaido, he's usually hanging out, just, getting some courage from the sake gourd, he's just hanging out there, glug, 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 where's my son out, glug, 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 where's Lin Lin, glug, 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 think I'm gonna take a little nap here, that's usually Kaido, alright? But he steps out in front of everybody last chapter. He's got the visual Den Mushies all over Onigashima, and he's like, all right, here's what we're doing. And what he's doing is the new Wano order. I guess I should say the new Onigashima order, because this has been going on for about 20 years now. This has probably been building. Kaido is nothing if not patient. I'll give him that much. And he knows an opportunity when he sees one, all right? Maybe there's a little bit of complacence involved here too, because you gotta figure for 20 long years, actually it's been longer than 20 years, because when Odin was executed 20 years ago, by that point, that was when Orochi and Kaido fully had control over the country. Remember what they said after Odin came back and he was about ready just to slice off Orochi's head just right then and there, but Samimaro used the barrier thing. Later on, Kaido was like, man, if you would have attacked us full force at that moment, like the second you returned to Wano after journeying with Roger, there's a pretty good chance you might have actually won, because we really hadn't gathered enough power yet. I don't even think Kaido's base on Onigashima was finished at that point when Odin returned, like 24 years ago. 25 years ago, because Roger was executed 24 years ago. So, but then he gave 5 years for Kaido to gain power, and then started getting all of his weapon factories up and running. His castle in Onigashima was built, and just more powerful samurai and more powerful beast pirates were gathered together. So by the time Odin finally did wage the rebellion, they were overwhelmed at that point. Odin got thrown in jail, okay? So this has been for 25 years now. Kaido has been there with Orochi, hand in hand, working together to kind of rule over all of Wano. The dynamic was pretty apparent, or at least from Kaido's perspective, I'm pretty sure. Kaido knew all along Orochi didn't really have any true power. At any moment, Kaido could literally just step on the guy. He used the sword last chapter, which was a lot more effective, I'll tell you that much. It really caught everybody's eye, just out of nowhere, just shing! But, in all honesty, Kaido could have just been like, shut up! And just steps on the guy. And honestly, if we're gonna go along with the logic that Orochi is not really dead, and the reason he's not really dead is because of his Yamato no Orochi, a mythical zone, that might allow him to, have 8 extra lives, so, 7 now, but maybe that only works when his actual head is cut off, so maybe if, Kaido literally just stepped on him, or just, pounded him into the dirt or whatever, that would have negated the fruit's power. By the by, I've also seen some theories out there, just because we've kind of already done this before, that the Orochi that Kaido's cut down, it was actually one of Kanjuro's drawings. I guess it's possible, but we saw the head hit the floor, and usually they turn to ink pretty close to after they've been, destroyed like that. Not always, it's not an immediate thing, but it's possible, but I still don't think that's the case. I still think we're gonna get the mythical zone power involved here, and just Kaido just didn't know about it, okay? But anyway, yeah, so, I think there's been a little bit of complacence there, where he's like, alright, this is the power dynamic right now, and this is my entire country. I basically rule over it as a dragon god. Plus, he's got his castle in Onigashima, which the aesthetic of Onigashima fits Kaido really well, and he's already a big boozer, so probably Kaido was thinking, man, I guess we could go out there and try to take over the world. I guess I could go out there and try to find the ancient weapons and get the One Piece and everything. I have a road poneglyph here, but, see what's on TV today, But now that Big Mom has come to town and they've got the alliance, I think the gears are finally starting to turn in Kaido. It might be even like an ambition that he had from long ago. You know, he had a lot more drive back when he allied with Orochi 25 years ago of like, I'm gonna take over Wano, and then we're gonna get the road poneglyphs, and then we're gonna find the One Piece, yeah! But then one thing leads to another, and it's like, well, maybe next week I'll get to that. Glug, glug, glug. 25 years go by, and it's like, Mr. Kaido, aren't we gonna, the Beast Pirates do have a presence. They have ships that go over, the world and stuff. He is still a Yonko. He's still feared by everybody, but it didn't really seem like Kaido was being very proactive in the whole take over the world, ancient weapons, epic war, kind of thing. Just more of just stuck in the mire of just, drinking and building up his power. But then Big Mom's there, and I think that awoke something in Kaido. You know what? Time to get in motion. Time to get out of bed. All right, crick, crack. All right, step 1, crush Orochi. Step 2, we're going after the ancient weapons, grunts. Step 3, probably defeat the other Yonko, but, whatever. The other steps will come to me as we go, all right? So he also declares the new status for Wano, or New Onigashima as he calls it now. He says that Onigashima, the proper capital, will be moved to the flower capital of Wano. In one translation of the chapter, it was that he was talking about Onigashima, physically being moved from the island to the flower capital, and in another, the more official Viz translation, it was more of just the flower capital will become Onigashima, in name, not exactly in physically picking up the island, the giant muffin skull, and dropping it in the middle of flower capital. Though, listen, you live by the giant robot crab theory, you die by the giant robot crab theory, so I'm not taking anything back. I still want the giant skull to move via giant robotic crab and then just land right in the middle of the flower capital. That would be a pretty cool aesthetic. I'm just gonna still keep with that, but that's probably, the first thing is probably what Kaido really intended, it's we're gonna be moving Onigashima. Onigashima will still exist, but, I'm tired of Orochi doing his little games in the flower capital where he's like, I am Lord Orochi, I'm ruling over everything. I'm like, okay, yeah, that's great. Because even though Kaido and Orochi were working together, there was still probably limits of what Kaido was allowed to do. If the Beast Pirates wanted to build, a certain, number of weapon factories in a certain area, Orochi might have been like, no, you can't build it there because that's where I go on my summer retreats. And Kaido would just be like, ugh. Alright, fine. But in reality, if it's you know what? I've been essentially running this country for about 25 years now. I mean, the citizens fear Orochi, but they think they fear Orochi more for the fact that he has such great power and he could, he's also in league with Kaido, but he doesn't have a lot of physical power himself. I mean, yeah, if it's Orochi up against a random, random peasant of Wano, yeah, he could turn into the Yamato Orochi and devour him whole. But against any decently strong samurai, here's the question. How would you feel about Zoro as he existed at the beginning of this story? We're talking Shell Town, just beat up Captain Morgan level Zoro up against Orochi as his is right now. Do you think Orochi could have won? I mean, do you think Orochi would beat Zoro? Or do you think Zoro would slice him up? Because I really don't think Orochi has haki. He really hasn't shown that at all. His ability really just seems like I can turn into a giant snake and eat people. And that's pretty much it. And all of his other powers rely on, commanding his samurai or the Oniwaban or the Mimawari Gumi to do their stuff, right? Just Orochi on his own versus East Blue Zoro. Pretty sure East Blue Zoro would kick his ass. Pretty damn sure. He definitely would now. But, that's the level we're working with here. So, that's all the power he's got. He's more feared in that way. But Kaido brings the terror. He's a damn dragon. Every now and then, after there's nothing on TV, he'll probably just turn into a dragon, terrify the townspeople. Just let everyone be known that there is a dragon deity that lives on the outskirts of the country, and he could just barge in whenever he wants and nuke an entire village. And that's just a thing that can happen. Right, so yeah, he's done. Papa Kaido's here, and he's like, alright, taking over the country, it's gonna be a lawless pirate land, I'm gonna drink all your milk, and I'm gonna piss in your bed. Papa Kaido's home! Glug, glug. Alright, So, the ultimate plan here. Of course he declared that we're going to find the ancient weapons, we're going to get the One Piece, but how exactly is that going to break down, alright? I'm sure he just, oh, and Yamato becoming the new shogun. That was the 3 main points of that little seminar. I guess 4 main points. Point number 1, you know, Wano is now under his control, absolutely. He gives 5 seconds, and you should be glad he gave you guys that much. 5 seconds for the samurai and the ninja and everyone else that works for Orochi to switch alliances. If they are smart, they will immediately agree to Kaido's demands. Maybe some of the more steadfast, loyal, in air quotes, loyal members of Orochi's court, like maybe Fuku Rokuju, maybe one of the Mimawari Gumi, maybe they might be like, I'm never gonna listen to you, Kaido, I take my words from Orochi. But at that point, Kaido would just, alright, everyone line up. Everyone that doesn't want to serve me. It's cool. I understand. Hey, tell you what, could you just step out of the exhibition hall for a moment, just walk outside? Yeah, don't worry, there's gonna be a special consolation prize, and there's gonna be a boat outside that'll ferry you off of Wano Kuni to a nice island where you can live. Hey, if you don't want to work under me, I'm not a tyrant. Alright, everyone walk outside. Alright, everybody good? Everybody standing perfectly still in the middle of that empty field? Alright, Bora! You know, okay? So, most of the samurai, they're all gonna probably just, oh yeah, bowing down to Dragon Duck God. Okay, sure, right. That's step 1, and then, okay, that one's probably gonna already be established. No one's really gonna push back against that. Finding the ancient weapons. That would kind of imply that they have a decent idea where at least one of them is. Pluton's location was located in Alabasta, the poneglyph at Alabasta. Poseidon's location was written about on the Sky Islands. We do know that Big Mom's information network is apparently the best in the world, so even if, like, Big Mom or Kaido themselves didn't actually go to those locations, it's possible, maybe, that they might have either heard from another person, maybe there are some other scholars in the world that have studied this, that they got their information from, like they captured and interrogated. I find it hard to believe that Ohara was the only island in the world that cared a lot about the archaeology and the history of the world. Yeah, it was probably the leader, it was the world leader in archaeology and stuff, but there might have been some other locations. Basically, I'm trying to say, like, how would they even know where to start looking for the ancient weapons, right? I think Big Mom's info network is the thing that's really going to be the one that's going to help them out there. I would say it would be more likely for them to find out the location of Poseidon than the location of Pluton, just because Pluton, I mean, well, from what we know of, it's a physical object, whereas Shirahoshi is a mermaid, so that might be a little bit more, like, it might be, like, because they might seriously still think the ancient weapons are just straight-up weapons, like, you know, they're physical objects you can go and find in the world, and their locations haven't moved at all. They don't know yet that Shirahoshi is, in herself, an ancient weapon, so that makes things a little bit more complicated there. And Uranus, or Uranus, whatever you want to call it, Uranus, we have no idea where that's located at, right? But you know what? There is something interesting I wanted to bring up with that, and I just realized it the other day when I did another video. So Robin currently knows where Pluton is and Poseidon is, okay? But she also name-dropped Uranus to Neptune. She also mentioned the names of the 3 great weapons. By the way, while she was doing that, she was showing off a bunch of cleavage. That's how I remember that scene so damn well. But she's like, yes, the 3 ancient weapons, named after gods, Pluton, Poseidon, and Uranus. Now, like, Crocodile knew the name of Pluton without actually being able to read poneglyphs. But the ancient weapons, I don't think their actual names are well known in the world. I mean, maybe they are, I guess. Like, the shipwrights at Water 7 knew about it, the world government knew about it, because, you know, they're the world government. But I'm just wondering where Robin learned the name Uranus. Did she read it? Because she's seen other poneglyphs before she ran into the Straw Hats, before she started working for Baroque Works. She stumbled upon other poneglyphs in the world. So maybe one of those, she already knows where Uranus is. If that's the case, she knows where all 3 are located, right? So, even if they don't know where every single ancient weapon is, even if they just know, like, we've heard about Pluton or Uranus' location, they're probably going to go after those. And, you know, just directing all of Big Mom's information network on the weapons directly. So I think they're going to attempt to get the weapons first. And then they're going to get the weapons, combined with all of the weapons that already exist on Onigashima and Wano that have been produced for years, the last 25 years or whatever they've been making. They are then going to wage a massive war, like a war to end all wars, on the entire world, it seems. Like, the Marines and the world government, Kaido even said in his speech, the Marines and the world government, they got rid of the warlord system. This proves they have grown arrogant in this age, So they're going to get their hands on the ancient weapons, plus everything on Wano, and then they're just going to decimate the world government. And I'm guessing after all that's taken care of, in conjunction taking out the other Yonko, I guess, along the way, after everything is just decimated and destroyed, then they'll just go and pick up through the rubble and find the One Piece, I'm guessing. That's the order of operations we're working with here, okay? Wipe out all your competition first so you don't have anybody else to worry about once you get to the One Piece, and then you find it. And then I guess Kaido's ultimate goal and Big Mom's ultimate goal as well at the same point is essentially what Rocksteady Zebek's goal was, which makes sense given that they were also part of Rox's crew back in the day. They don't want to just be king of the pirates, they want to rule the world, Very simple, rather cliche kind of goal, especially for a villain, I want to rule the world. But with the level of power Kaido and Big Mom have, and if they had the... what I also like about this is that even with the power they have with the Alliance, Kaido still realizes that they're going to need a little more than that. We're going to need unquestionable power. Power that anybody could look at and say, there's no way we can beat them. They are nigh invincible with this power. And even with the alliance of two Yonko working together with a combined bounty of combined together, I think Big Mom and Kaido's bounties are over 9 billion. Plus, you got to add on all the extra bounties of the Calamities and the Sweet Commanders and all the other random members of the crew. So the full crew strength between Kaido and Big Mom, I didn't do this calculation, but it would definitely be over 10 billion. Just in terms of adding up everybody's all the Calamities, Jack, Queen, King, plus Big Mom, Sweet Commanders, and everyone else, like Daifuku, Oven. Yeah, that would definitely be over, 10 billion. So if that's the situation we're working with here, that's terrifying on its own right, but it's nah, not good enough. Need the ancient weapons. Do you think Kaido and Big Mom are going to not stop until they get all three? Or are they just going to get one? Let's say they just get their hands on Pluton alone, the giant battleship that could, nuke an entire island. Are they all right, well, that's good enough. We could just keep that. And we just ride around on Pluton, blasting islands apart, destroy the Red Line, wipe out Marijois, and then just sail and just find Laugh Tale, get the One Piece. Yarg, yarg, yarg. And then that's it. Or another logical way of thinking about this is no, we have to have all three at our disposal, because if we have one ancient weapon, they could still find another one. If we get Pluton, they could get Poseidon and then wage war with us. Screw that. We don't want that. We just want unquestionable power, all right? So they get that, and, Rocksteady Zebek's goal was very vague, just want to rule the world. I guess rule the world in this instance means essentially turning the entire world into what Onigashima is right now, and what he wants all of Wano to be, a lawless pirate paradise. Which is where Big Mom and Kaido Kaido specifically probably grew up. I'm sure Kaido back in his younger years when he was a teenager and a kid probably grew up around the pirate paradise, because then he ended up working for Zebek. So yeah, I would assume Big Mom grew up kind of traveling around and stuff, but that lawless pirate area, that's probably what they would want. An area where only the fittest survive, the strongest. They have a hierarchy just based on that and that alone, with Big Mom and Kaido ruling together as the apex of that. Now, I could see some issues with that. I could see some issues with the alliance breaking apart after they get the One Piece and all right, we got the One Piece, Lin. Yeah, mama. Now, who gets it? I'm what? Well, we both get it. No, who gets it? I'm wait, that's a good point. And then the whole alliance could break. Oh man, imagine if that happened. Imagine if they succeed, everybody dies. Okay, Straw Hats, Samurai, Supernovas, everybody's dead. All right, the other Yonko, Shanks, Blackbeard, they're all dead. Marines dead. World government dead. All right. And they really did succeed. They got the One Piece. They have the three ancient weapons. They got freaking Shirahoshi, tied up on Pluton as Uranus, which is a sky laser weapon. The flying saucer floats above them. They got all of that. They go to the freaking Laugh Tale. They get it. And then the next thing is they have an argument, and they literally wage a global war against each other. The world splits right down the middle, and it's Big Mom's hemisphere, Kaido's hemisphere, and they just battle back and forth for all time. This just burned out lawless world. That would be kind of, that would be metal as hell. That'd be a really cool backdrop for a heavy metal music video that Kid could rock out to, or something. It's kind of Metalocalypse music video or something, right? Death Clock. All right, so that's what we're working with, though. that's what we have. Now, of course, that's one thing to actually announce it, and it is one thing to announce it. It's a big thing to announce something like that. As I said in the review, that's essentially endgame level stuff. It kind of sounds a little bit like fan fiction even. We're getting into that territory where it's like, okay, Kaido's gonna come out, and he's gonna go after the ancient weapons in the One Piece in one go. I'm like, a little bit fan fiction-y, but no, that's what I think Oda's really setting us up. Like, no, you really need to start thinking about the ancient weapons. I mean, like, how long has it been since the ancient weapons have been, like, an integral part of the story, where it's, like, one of the main enemies wants to get their hands on one? Like, Crocodile wanted to get his hands on Pluton, same with the world government with the CP9, they wanted to get the blueprints for Pluton, and then okay, kind of the last time this was mentioned was recent with the Reverie, because Eam kind of took, you know, he took Shirahoshi's picture and, I mean, stabbed it, or, you know, he or whoever Eam-sama turns out to be, and then took Vivi's picture and kind of looked at it, right? So, maybe that would imply right there, like, I want to get rid of Shirahoshi because of what she is. That might have been referencing the weapon as well there, but it's been a while since it's like the main goal of the main villain of the story is we gotta get our hands on the ancient weapons, right? So, yeah, we'll see where this goes. But there's a lot of steps that need to be involved here. I'm not sure if Kaido's going to elaborate on this at all. If he's going to be like, all right, the first thing we're going to do after this fire festival, after we move everything over to the operations of Wano, this is the first thing we're going to do. We've found the location of Pluton. It's located on Lodestar Island. You know, it might be something like that. And then we have at least something to point towards after Wano's done, right? Setting something up for a future arc, maybe. But anyway, yeah, this is going to be an intense part of the story. Break next week, but I'm really pumped. Get ready, everybody. Get ready, Barry. Tekking101 signing out. It doesn't squeak. But that's appropriate, because Kaido doesn't squeak. He roars! See you guys.